Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Mauricio Velasquez, president and founder of the Diversity Training Group. With over 30 years of experience in DEI, executive coaching, and workplace culture transformation, Mauricio helps organizations globally foster respect, trust, and high performance, especially in challenging environments. His clients include the White House, NASA, Toyota, Major League Soccer, Dominion Energy, National Policing Institute, Pool Corp, and the U.S. Navy. Mauricio, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you. That's a nice intro. I appreciate that, by the way.
Thanks to you. You made it easy for me. Help me understand, because I always like to start from the beginning. Take us back on a little trip down memory lane. Before you started your company, the Diversity Trading Group, what were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
It's an interesting story. So I graduated with an MBA from George Washington. My undergrad's from UVA in economics and psychology. My MBA is in human resource management. So I wanted to work in human resources, and I got a job I was at George Washington University working. That's the second largest employer in Washington, D.C. Then I got a job with the IRS. That's the biggest employer in D.C. So I'm like, all right, I've done academic, I've done federal. I want to do something in the private sector. So I went to work for a firm in Annapolis, Maryland, and I was in HR. And I had a terrible boss, just awful. And I said, I can't do this. So I went into consulting, and I had 2 stints in consulting. And it was a second consulting business that forced my hand. I had an arrangement where I was recruited, build this team, this practice, this DE&I, diversity, equity, inclusion practice. And after a year, if you're successful, we'll spin it off. So I'm like, I'm in. The arrangement was you make a certain amount of money, you cover all your expenses and overhead, and we'll split the net 50-50. So I'm like, I'm in. And the deal was within a year. So about a month from the year, so 11 months in, my boss comes to me and she says, I don't like our arrangement. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm hitting all the numbers. She goes, yeah, but I want to make more money than the 50-50 split.
Wow.
And she said, let's renegotiate to a 70-30, where she kept 70. I'm like, I'm doing all the work, right? So my ego got the best of me. And I said, well, maybe it's time for us to part. And that was a month out from the 1-year anniversary. And then on one of the last days, she calls me in her office and she says, hey, we've been talking to our accountant and our attorney. We want to sell you the practice, the business that you built. I'm like, really? What did you value it at? And she goes, oh, $175,000. I'm like, really? So I built $175K of value in less than a year. She goes, yeah. I said, now I'm unemployed in less than a day. Where am I going to find 175K? She goes, you can borrow it from your father. I understand he's very successful. And I said to her, you were making this very easy. And at the time, Ryland was a client. Howard County General Hospital was a client. Hewlett Packard, Black & Decker. And so I said, I'm not giving you one penny. And whenever I came across her in the marketplace, I'd ask, what is she bidding? I'd do it for half. So whenever I crossed her paths, I would submarine, and I just crushed her in the marketplace. And by the way,
that's the nerve.
Oh my God. And by the way, she called all my clients, saying, hey, Mauricio's left the firm and I forbid you from working with him. And Hewlett Packard said, what? We didn't know he left. They couldn't stand, all my clients couldn't stand my boss. So when I left and she started calling all of them and kicking them in the teeth, they all jumped ship and joined me. They all came to me. Hewlett Packard called me and says, hey, it's great news you left. I'm like, how did you know I left? Your boss called us. So it is a crazy story. So
that does sound like a crazy story. And honestly, I don't fault you at all for letting your ego get the best.
Oh, yeah.
I probably would have done the exact same thing in your position. And she sounds like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
Thank God you got out of there.
Yeah. But she did me a favor in a way, because if we had kept with our same arrangement, after a year, I would have formed my own firm and she would have owned half of it. So it's her mistake, quite frankly. But that was how I jumped ship, and then how a bunch of clients came with me. Not because I told them I was leaving, but because my boss,
I think there's an underlying lesson here. One of my favorite lessons in the world is everything in life is happening for you, not to you. Even at
Exactly.
the moment it seems like it's happening to you, it's actually happening for you. It's a blessing in disguise. It's there to aid you build your character in some way. So I love that.
Spot
Now,
on.
I would, sorry, go for it.
No, no, I was just going to say, in the rule here too, I was living on a houseboat in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore at the time. So when I jumped ship, when I quit and started my own firm, I was on this houseboat and my overhead was almost nothing, right? $300 a month was the slip fee in downtown Baltimore with $1 billion view, by the way. And then the boat payment was 220. So I was 520, and that was my home and my office. And I could write off the office because it was my residence and I paid no taxes and I had no grass to cut. So I grinded. I lived on that boat for 5 years and I built my firm. And the first 6 months I made $35,000. But then eventually it launched. And Hewlett Packard, by the way, one of my first clients, they called me and they're like, "Hey, Mauricio, we have a problem." And I'm like, "What
Yeah.
problem?" Like, "We have a
Yeah,
bunch of money that we can't spend before the end of the year. Can we give you that money? Because if we don't spend it, we lose it." And they gave me like 40 grand at the end of
yeah,
the year.
yeah.
It saved me. And I'm still friends with that vice president of Hewlett Packard.
Yeah. Yeah.
She saved me.
Wow, I need more friends like that.
I know, right?
But
I said to Marcy, "I got you. I can hold your
yeah,
money. Not a problem."
let's shift over a little bit, and I would love to briefly discuss this because there's a lot of things that I want to go over. But for the listeners that know nothing about your company,
Yeah.
can you break this down for us? Who's your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with? And then from there, what are the different offers and services that you provide?
I don't, I'm in all sectors from aerotech, high tech, government, although I'm not exposed right now. I'm right outside of Washington, D.C., and government sector is really in bad shape. I'm mostly private sector, household, from Hewlett Packard to a Black and Decker to Major League Soccer to Dominion Energy, the big utility. I've got clients in all spaces. I got a brewery, I've got a car dealership. And what I do is I'm a trainer. So I come in and I custom design training. So supervisors, managers, leaders. And originally it was diversity and inclusion, which right now this administration is trying to make it taboo. But I have clients that continue to do diversity and inclusion work. And that includes training, coaching, consulting. How do we create the right environment for
Mm,
people to want to stay, retain talent? Because that's going to be a bigger issue as this economy tightens, is we want to keep the talent we have. And then
yeah,
I kind of, from there, I branched into emotional intelligence, psychological safety, trust, engagement, and that's exploded. Emotional so that's, I would call that advanced DE&I. And of course I still do the, so my clients will ask me, "Hey, can you do harassment training?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I've been doing harassment training for many years, and it's because and this is crazy, some of my clients are like, "We don't want, I have women on my team. Oh, we don't want any women. They won't listen to the women." I'm like, "What?" They consider them kind of like a feminazi. "We want a man." So I'm a harassment trainer, uniquely qualified because I'm a man, because they won't listen to women. That's crazy. I get race work because I'm not African American. And then I get Latino work because I speak Spanish. So uniquely qualified
yeah.
and expert witness. I testify in court. But my
Okay.
clients are organizations that continue to do the work. Like Magellan Health is a client right now. They continue to do the work despite this administration.
Yeah, something I would love to get your perspective on. It sounds like when you come in and you work with clients, it's all custom training depending on what they need, and it's all tailored depending on their particular situation. Now, I've had a lot of different trainers, consultants, coaches on this podcast, and a theme that we talk about is scalability when it comes to the fulfillment model.
Yeah,
And obviously, inherently with the customization, it makes it difficult to scale because every single client engagement is different, and you have to balance the marketing, the sales with the fulfillment, and then if the fulfillment looks different every time. So I'm just curious what your perspective is on.
great question. Great question. The reality is a lot of my clients think their issues are unique or
Mm,
different. But when you get in, 60, 70% are the same issues, whether it's exclusion, favoritism, cronyism, privilege. And so some of it is very scalable. Now, I wrote this book, Tackling Toxicity,
mm,
because I can bundle my intellectual property and then sell, and it's a standalone cash flow. So, technology, by the way, we record my workshops and then my clients can reuse them, and I charge a fee for that intellectual property fee. So there is some scalability, but you're absolutely right. For any trainer, consultant, training is perishable. And I know this, and your listeners know this. There's 22 billable days in a month. And if I'm not billing, I'm not making money. But if I'm selling books, if I've got technology that's bundled my intellectual property into videos and related applications, there's some of the scalability. But quite
Mhm.
frankly, it's crazy too. When you publish a book, everybody thinks, oh, you've published a book, you must be amazing. They don't even read the book. They're just, oh, come and speak. Come here, because now you're a published author. Oh, and you can charge more money. I got one client, they're paying me 20 grand for 3 hours of work because I have a book. It's madness. But
Great.
that's what I'm doing, working less, charging more,
Yeah.
bundling my services in creative ways. But we definitely have a headwind with this administration and everything
Yeah.
DEI. But you're seeing a lot of companies
Yeah.
doubling down. We're
I've
still
I've been
doing
talking to for sure. I've been talking to a lot of DEI trainers and they echo similar sentiments. Some of them are switching the way they're packaging their
Yep.
messaging and the way they're communicating. But I'm curious for you right now, can you quickly explain to us what does your lead generation process look like? So when you're looking to acquire customers,
Yes.
what are the different channels that you acquire customers through?
Very good question. So I do a lot of speaking, a lot of public speaking. I speak in the last 3 weeks, I've been to Seattle, Albuquerque, Little Rock, Virginia Beach. I'm all over presenting workshops. Because of the book, I get in because it's a new topic, tackling toxicity, engaging difficult people. But I've woven in psychological safety, trust, inclusion, and so emotional intelligence. So I'm getting in the door. When I present, I win a client or two or three per presentation. So in like the last 5 presentations, I've landed 5 clients. I'm averaging about one client in the short term. Now there's medium and long term, and more people will call me. Like I just had a client say, "Hey, we saw you 6 years ago." I'm like, 6 years ago. So I'm always presenting. If I have to, I do it for free, pro bono. I'm always writing. I'm an author of short articles that I post. Referrals from my other clients is important. And then partnerships. I have a couple of strategic allies and partners that feed me leads, like it's work that they don't do, but I can do it and I'll pay them a finder's fee. But so it's presenting, writing, alliances, referrals, word of mouth, and then mining the clients I have and offering new services. I've done this for you. How about
I
I do
see.
this? Oh,
I
and I think the latest development is getting clients to lock into a retainer. Like training, buzz in, blow in, blow out. No, I want to do ongoing work. So I have a new client starting in July, and it's a monthly meeting with training regularly, coaching. I'm looking at policies and procedures. I'm doing stay interviews. What would make you stay? I'm doing exit interviews. And then post exit, I'll tell you why they really left, and I'll call the person at the new job. We call those ombudsman services. We have a handful of clients that pay us to be their ombudsman. The employee won't tell HR, their own human resources people, why they're thinking about leaving or why they left, but they'll tell an outsider, and that's what we do. And we have a hotline. So that's a new development. And to all my DE and I brothers and sisters out there, we've got to move. We've got to evolve. We've got to provide additional services. Don't call it. I'm the president of the diversity training group, but I'm not going to change my name for this buffoon. I'm not going to change my name. I'm going to stick to it because there's really 2 markets now. There are the people that are still doing the work, corporate America, and then there are the people that are freezing, pausing, or stopping. You can market to them, but I think they were just looking for a reason to get out.
yeah.
I continue to market to the people that are doing the work. And quite frankly, a lot of my peers have left the space. So those of us that are still standing, hopefully, will get more business because the market has shrunk.
Yeah, I appreciate you breaking that down. I'm curious with the ever-evolving landscape, and obviously you mentioned a couple of channels here. One thing that we talk about is the power of having predictability when it comes to lead generation, having it almost be like a faucet that you can turn on and off. How do you handle the inherent inconsistencies or unpredictability when it comes to lead flow specifically?
Marketing, advertising, just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring is not going to happen. You've got to be out and you've got to be priming the pump, pulling, right? One, people have to know you exist. Two, people have to know why hire Mauricio and Diversity Training Group, what differentiates you. And then three, closing the deal. So my website is a big net. It's a big fish hook. And I provide, and that's the other thing. I provide value. If you go to my website, diversitydtg.com, there's articles, checklists, podcasts. People can spend hours on my website and just grab a lot of knowledge for free. So let's say I'm feeling it starting to slow down. I've designed a new workshop. I will send it to all my existing clients. The whole thing. Here's the whole PowerPoint. Take a look. What do you think? And there'll be some nibbles. So I'm like, oh, this is great. We'd like to do this for our team. So now there are plenty, and I approach this from a position of abundance. I am not one of scarcity. I've got competitors. If you want to see it, you got to pay for it. I'm like, that's nuts. That's nonsense. Here's the whole workshop. You already know me. You've already seen me train. I'm very good. Here's a new topic area. Here's a leading edge, bleeding edge, and you may be interested in this. So that is another way I prime the pump. I'm advertising, but to me, advertising is not a big part of my work. It's more sending out an article that conveys value, sending out a new workshop that conveys value. And by the way, on Facebook and LinkedIn, I'm locked into about 1.25 million people. Hey, got a new workshop, want to see it, email me. Want to see it, IM me, and I'll send it. I'll send it. Now, if somebody I know, I easily send it. If somebody I don't know, I won't send the PowerPoint. I'll send a PDF to try to protect my intellectual property. I know a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like it a lot. I'm curious for you, when you think of your vision and where you want to go over the next 12 months, are there any specific revenue targets, performance targets, anything like that? Paint me that picture.
One, they're not revenue targets, they're lifestyle targets. Like I'm on a 4-day work week. I'd love to go to 3, have Mondays and Fridays off, make enough money to I own my office and I've already paid it off.
Yeah.
So one of my targets in the next couple of years is to move to Charlottesville. My wife is from Charlottesville. I've always promised her we'd move to Charlottesville, Virginia. It's the home of UVA, and she went there for grad school. I went there for undergrad. I want to sell this off. I could retire right now. I think I could sell my office, but I'm like my immigrant father. The idea of just stopping work is madness. But my revenue targets would probably be, man, if I could make, in my best, we were making $500,000 to $1 million a year. A good month, 20, 30, 40, 50K. But I don't need to, I understand the concept of enough. This is one problem. If you've ever heard Elon Musk described as, he doesn't understand the concept of enough. I got a house at the beach, which is my satellite office where I wrote my book. I've got, our house is paid off. This office is paid off. I probably want to consolidate. I want to speak, get paid more for working less. And when you write a book, that's exactly what happens. If you market it, writing a book is hard. Getting that book sold, like in the bookstores, that's one of my goals, is to get it in Barnes and Noble. It's impossible, but I'm working on it. I'm actually doing the audio book right now. But again, another revenue stream, the book itself, paperback, hardback, but also the audio book, and that will come out shortly. And and that's the other thing for your readers, your listeners. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all these guys take a ridiculous cut. I might make, I'll tell everybody this, I might make $5 a book, and the book's $17.99. To everybody, look at books.buy. I have a bookstore on my website. That's an Australian firm. You buy a book on my website, I make twice the margin, twice that a Barnes and Noble
Crazy.
or Amazon would make.
I'm super curious. When you think of right now, aside from all the craziness that's happening in the world, right? Let's forget about the economy. Let's forget about the macroeconomic climate we're currently in. If you had to think about the biggest challenge that you're facing right now, that's something that's in your control, what would that be?
My biggest challenge right now is the bias and prejudice that this administration has attached to my field, which is about fighting bias and prejudice. This is like bias squared. So the biggest challenge is to educating the market and the consumer that what I do is still Look, I say this quote all the
Right.
time. Oxygen is to breathing what diversity, equity, inclusion is to capitalism. The companies still doing the work realize we got to retain our talent. Our customers are diverse. We need to hire diverse employees that can understand and anticipate the needs of our diverse customers. So that to me is an external. Internally, it's just doing, I love what I do. The idea that I get paid for it is nuts. So I love what I do. I get paid very well for it. My biggest challenge internally is finding somebody to pay me to do it.
Mm,
I can do it.
so,
I can do it with
yeah.
my eyes closed. I've done it. I've been to 70 countries doing this work in life. The Navy sent me to every base but Diego Garcia in the world and all
Yeah.
U.S. domestic. In Guantanamo Bay, I did this work. I've done this work with Native American tribes, law enforcement. I love what I do. It's
Mm,
just finding people to pay me to do it, whether it's
yeah.
training or consulting or coaching.
Yeah.
So internally, it's the marketing issue.
Yeah.
Externally, it's this administration
That makes perfect sense.
just decided, and by the way, they hate DEI because we call out exactly what it represents: cronyism, favoritism, privilege. They don't like DEI because it
Yeah.
undermines their smug lifestyle, right? I mean, look at his administration. All these folks are cronies. None of them know what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
horrible. Each secretary is, but that's what DEI is opposed to. DEI
For
says,
sure. For
no,
sure.
widen the net, find the best people. No, I'm going to surround myself with my buddies who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely get it. Two more questions for you.
Please,
One is first, this is going to be the second one. What's the best way for people to reach you? But then
diversitydtg.com and my book, Tackling Toxicity, a skill-based guide to addressing toxicity. Again, that's another door now into my
yeah.
website, but it's on Barnes& and Noble, it's on Amazon, it's on 40 platforms.
Now, if you, I appreciate you breaking that down. If you could talk to new entrepreneurs that are starting off in 2025, and you could give them a piece of advice that you wish you knew when you were first starting off. You didn't know it back then, but you know it now.
That's a really good question. Know your market, understand your competitors. When I first started thinking about doing this work, I studied the market. What I probably could have done a better job of is allies, alliances, strategic partnerships, building more of those coalitions early on. I thought another mistake. I thought I could just build a practice in Columbia, Maryland or Baltimore, Maryland. I quickly realized to meet my goals, I had to go national. I should have probably gone national more quickly. Now, technology helped me with my website. At one time, I was one of the only diversity trainers on the World Wide Web. So June 1, DGG started our 30th year. So I'm in my 30th year, not my first rodeo. Write, publish, speak as often as you. That's how I generate most of my work is I'm speaking, I'm presenting, and people are like, this guy's awesome. Let's hire him. Be out and about. Go to and I was a big Chamber of Commerce guy early on. That helped me win some work. Go local, go regional, go national. You might have to do it at the same time, but
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
And you
Awesome.
got to do what you love. I love what I do. If you don't like public speaking, but you're a trainer, good luck, right? If
Yeah.
you don't like writing, good luck. But I chose things that I love to do and I'm very good at it. And I enjoy it. I stopped working 30 years ago in Somerset.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Mauricio, I really appreciate your time today. This was a fantastic conversation.
All
So
right.
that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale your company and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.